Heyo everybody, here we go. We got my review for The Walking Dead comics issue 192. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about this one for just a little bit. It's probably going to be a sort of short one because there are only a few sentiments to get over and because it was so good. And that's one of those things you run into when you like review things is sometimes when something is really good, there's not actually a lot to say about it because it's so good. But I think that the big thing here is that this is an amazing way to kill a main character. I think this was basically the perfect way to do anything. I wouldn't change a thing about it. I thought it was great in every way. The thing I like about it is that I guess it's exactly what I said I wanted, really. I'm totally satisfied. Like, I was saying he shouldn't have this moment like Andrea had where he says goodbye to everyone. The best way to do things for the story is to just have it happen. Doesn't get to say goodbye to anybody. And it's sort of it feels empty, but it feels amazing in the way that it feels empty. Because Andrea's death had immediate payoff. Her saying goodbye to everyone and doing all that was the payoff to the death right there. But Rick's death, the payoff isn't in him dying, the payoff is in, now that he's gone, without saying goodbye to everybody, we need to see what the other characters take from his death, how they learn to coexist, what they do next, where they go next, what happens next. So his death feels empty because the payoff isn't immediate. The payoff comes in what comes next with the other characters, and I love that. I think it's the perfect way to do things because it doesn't feel like an ending. When a main character dies in a way where he would have got to say goodbye to everyone or in a big heroic sacrificial moment, it can feel like the ending of sort of a chapter, and if the series doesn't continue on strongly, then it's hard for you to recognize a new chapter. But in this, it doesn't feel like the end. It just feels like sort of a transition into more stuff. So yeah, I love it in every way. Talking about the things that actually happened from the beginning. So Sebastian kills him. We saw it starting off at the end of last issue, and it continues on here. And what I love is that Carl finds zombified Rick, and I love this, that I was so invested in what was going on, I forgot that in the freaking Walking Dead, somebody would turn into a zombie. So Carl finds zombie Rick, and he just kills him on instinct. Just immediately does it. No hesitation, because he says to Michonne later on, I just saw the dead. I reacted immediately as if I would see any other, like, zombie. I immediately put it down, and then it took me a second to realize, oh, that's what I've done, and I love that. There were a lot of amazing panels. I love and pages too. I love the one of Rick just dead in bed, the full page, and then the page where we see him lying dead in bed as time is passing until morning. That was a good one. All of Carl's reaction shots, where he's crumpling to the ground or where he's starting to cry, all of those were really good. So yeah, the first bits of this issue were done really well. And Carl mentions to Michonne that he's still scared of living without him. And I like that, bringing up a part of the future for Carl's character is being a bit lost and needing to figure out what is it he needs to do next. And I brought it up in the reaction that maybe talking to Lydia will help him out with this, because she seems like she's a part of his future here. So I think that that could be helpful for him. Then one thing I noticed, Michonne and Maggie and all the others seem to be taking this really well. We got deep into how Carl's reacting, but we didn't get very deep into how any of the others are reacting. We kind of glossed over that, and they don't seem like mega pissed off, like, oh, there was a lot of the story focused on, is Carl going to want revenge, or is Carl going to be totally distraught? But we didn't focus on that with other characters that have known Rick a long time. Like, we didn't really focus on Michonne being that way or Maggie being that way. So I found that interesting that we didn't really pay attention to that. Maybe that's something we'll get into later, or maybe that's something that Kirkman just decided that doesn't need to have that much attention. This is going to be more about Carl. But I thought the writing with Carl was really, really great. So we learned that Pamela has put Sebastian in jail for life, and she seems genuinely distraught at what he's done. It doesn't seem like a situation of, oh, she's upset that he got caught. No, she seems to be genuinely upset that he did that he killed Rick. So I think that's sort of a good turn for Pamela. Pamela's always been a character where I think something good here is that Michonne's been an absolute asshole who's done a ton of bad things lately, but she's still Michonne. And Pamela has some good things about her, but she still has these bad things. I like that there's a gray area where the good characters aren't fully that good. They can still do some completely asshole-ish things, and the bad characters aren't always that bad. Even Negan, like, if you go back too far, like, the governor didn't, in the comics at least, didn't really have any redeeming qualities. He was kind of just completely a bad guy. But say even Negan, he was totally a bad guy. But he was a bad guy who had his own code, his own system of morals that he lived by. So it's one of those situations that I like that there are gray areas that continue onward here with Pamela and the others. One thing I love with Michonne here too is that she doesn't just let Pamela slide where she's like, don't just think because Rick is dead and that we're having to process all of this that you just get to go back to running the place. It doesn't just happen that easily. So I do like that Pamela has to step in because she's been leading this place so long. She has to be the one to step in and know what she's doing to keep this place running when some big chaotic situation like this happens. But at the same time, she shouldn't get used to that because she doesn't just get to go back to how things were just because something like this happened. Then Carl, and one of the reasons she was meeting with Carl was to make sure he wasn't going to take matters into his own hands or anything. And he assures her he isn't. He goes to visit Sebastian in prison, who just bitches and makes it all about himself. But Carl brings up to him, he's like, I can tell you're not a good person. Because it's something that, unlike Pamela, who seems genuinely resentful for what her son did, not just because he got caught, Sebastian comes off totally differently, and Carl brings it up. He comes off that he's mad that he got caught, he's mad that he's not mad at what he did, he's mad at the sort of consequences of what he did. So I like that we're even seeing that difference right here just in this issue. Then Carl brings up that prison is what Rick would have wanted. He wouldn't want people to kill him or anything, and that it works out better this way, because Carl can come visit him. He can watch him suffer and rot and age. So, we learn from there that they're planning to take Rick back to Alexandria to bury him there, because he would have wanted to be beside Andrea. And everybody wants to come, even Pamela and Lance, which is a bit surprising, but I like that. I like that we're bringing all these characters together to show respect, and then we can see where all these characters go after that. Now, there were some random characters that I didn't even recognize, and I'm wondering if they were shown because they're going to be important in the future, or if they're just showing characters in general. But, I love that Carl then falls over and he mentions, Andrea got to say goodbye to everyone, but Rick survived so much, he did all this, and he doesn't get to say those goodbyes, he's just gone. And that's what I love about it. And we're seeing that specifically brought up by Carl. The great thing about it is that he's gone like this, so it causes characters like Carl and all the others to have to learn to coexist and figure out what to do next with their lives. And I love that. And one thing I realized while taking notes on this chapter too is that Mikey is fucked. First Mikey lost Nicholas, he had his mom, then his mom dies and Rick's like, I'm gonna help you get through this. And then Rick just goes off and dies, so now Mikey is totally fucked. I just remembered that while taking notes. But, giving it 10 zombie Ricks out of 10. Like I said, I'm completely satisfied with this. I don't think it could have been done any better. We've seen main characters die via heroic sacrifice a million times, and it is what it is, and we've seen just recently Andrea get her chance to say goodbyes to everyone, so I think the best way to do it was exactly how they did it, which is to just kill them off, say, realistically, shit happens. Even if you're a main character, shit happens. Sometimes you just die. So it happens, and then we have to figure out what happens next, and that makes things super exciting. I think for the next few issues, we're probably going to be in a situation where we just see the aftermath of him dying, and that everybody's going to go to Alexandria, they're going to have their funeral. Perhaps we see some new bad guys plotting some things from within, possibly the Saviors, because I still don't quite trust them because of the shit they pulled in the Whisperer War. And from there, I think what would be nice is to see some more building moments, to see a few issues of these communities coming together, people traveling between them, starting to work together, maybe building up the train that Eugene was working on and the rail systems. And then after we do that for a little while, and I think that's probably going to take us maybe even up to issue 200, and then maybe around issue 200 or a little bit after that is when we'll finally get into whatever the next larger stage is. Maybe the next larger stage is another massive conglomerate of communities. Maybe it's a new bad guy. Maybe it's a new sort of stage in the intercolonial politics. Who knows? But I think around 200, since this big death happened here, around 200 is when we're going to learn what the next stage is. And then up until we get to 200, we're probably just going to see the aftermath of Rick's death and what the characters are deciding to do among themselves and among their own communities until then. So yeah, that would be my thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Like if you did like the video, and comment down there to tell me what you thought of this issue, what you thought of my thoughts on it and all that. Subscribe for more. The Walking Dead. I do reactions and reviews to the comics every single month, and I might do some TV show videos here and there is the way I typically do things. But yeah, I do really enjoy the TV show. But yeah, I don't know, just videos on it every week when it's on, it becomes too much, and it kind of hurts your enjoyment of it when you're making videos on it every single week, you know? Because then you're just thinking about it too much. But yeah, so sub for any of that much more. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel or talk to you there. And if you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us on Discord about this or anything else, then just ask and I can give you a link. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.